Hello, and thank you for tuning into the Stuff I Heard podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Peak. And what are we going to talk about? Literally. So here's the thing. Every week we go, okay, we got a topic we want to talk about. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about
Well,
that.
we don't necessarily have a topic every time.
No.
As a matter of fact, we wing it.
Well, there's a lot of times where we have an idea of what we want to talk about. And as soon as I hit go, my brain goes, hey, let's talk about the shiny thing over there. It's like ADHD, but,
Yeah, I
a
know.
little amped up. We got some interesting little projects that have sort of started to happen here. Um, we're getting concrete poured.
Yeah, we are.
Little project so that I can park the truck.
Concrete's expensive.
Not on the grass, but out of the way, and that way the Jeep can come in and out just fine. And also, it gives more of an area for, let's say, our grandson to possibly ride a tricycle on in the
Yeah.
future, maybe, or put a basketball goal there and let them
Well,
play.
no, we had. Well, maybe I don't know. We had a
Maybe.
basketball goal years ago, but
Yeah.
um, yesterday was a gorgeous day,
Yeah. Had beautiful weather.
and I think I know it's cooled off a little bit more today as opposed to yesterday, but I just looked, and I don't think we're calling for rain again for it. They're not even calling for rain again for another full week.
Well, in typical South Carolina fashion, the 1st of February, we had to turn the AC on.
Yes, we had to turn the AC on for a few minutes last yesterday evening.
It got a little
It
warmish.
got a little warm.
Yeah. And
Yesterday was a beautiful, beautiful day.
it was honestly, I woke up and I thought we could either do a lot of projects today or we could enjoy the day outside. I was thinking about all the possibilities because, let's face it, weather dictates a lot of what you do, your mood,
Yeah.
your intentions, your amount of clothing required to do X amount of whatever it is. But yesterday was really just the great weather to do anything. And I think we did a little bit of everything.
We did. I've also got, I think the month of February, I've got 2 weekends that I'll be gone. We're out of town the weekend of Valentine's weekend.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We're out of town and together. And then the next weekend, I do believe it's the very next weekend, I will be gone. I'll be leaving Saturday morning, coming back Sunday with a girls' little overnight girls' trip. We're going to see a like a traveling Broadway musical show.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think it's called Michael Jackson. It's the Broadway
Michael Jackson tribute.
Yeah. Well, it's not like it's a traveling Broadway show. But that's what Lori gave Cheryl and myself for Christmas this year.
So unlike the tickets that you bought at Christmas time that ended up
so far this
disappearing, this one's going to go through.
So far the show's still on.
Did you? I know we've talked about it on the podcast, but you on the last time we spoke about it, we're still waiting for refunds for that.
No, refund came back.
Okay.
Got the refund and from Ticketmaster, and then had to apply for the refund for the $60 in the insurance that I had purchased.
Mm-hmm.
They would not have refunded. They did refund, but they would not have refunded the money from the insurance had I not emailed them.
Oh.
So that seems a little odd.
They were hoping that most people don't look into it.
Probably, or most people would have assumed that the insurance, because you told me actually that I would not be getting that $60 back.
Right.
And we did get the $60 back.
I figured the $60 was sort of the fee you paid to assure you got your other money back. That's the way I looked at it. It was, that was that. But then you had a friend,
I get that
in the insight on that.
In a sense. It did bum me out when I thought about the fact that I had paid $60 just to guarantee that my other money would be refunded. And insurance is not, I guess with this, the insurance is purchased so that if you have a change of plans or something happens, then you're guaranteed your money back.
So in this case, instead, it was the venue that canceled. So therefore, you should be able to get refunded.
Right, okay. Right. I can only assume that with the purchase of the insurance, and we've purchased insurance a couple of times for different things, different type trips and stuff. Luckily, knock on wood, we have not had to use the insurance, but I would only assume that if you had, for instance, if work, you couldn't go on a vacation or to a certain function that you had purchased the tickets for, and you had purchased the insurance, then you would get the refund of the tickets, but not the insurance
Right.
because you had to
'Cause then you're
utilize
using it.
the insurance.
That makes sense.
That, so with us not utilizing the insurance because it was not us that canceled the show. It was the actual event
Mhm.
that was canceled. They did give me back my money, although, like I said, I had to send an email saying, please refund my money. This event was canceled. And they acknowledged my email right away
Good.
and responded and said, yes, your money will be refunded. So, yes, we did get every penny of that back.
Maybe that'll be helpful to somebody out there listening.
Yes, like I say, insurance I think is meant for you and your circumstance.
Mhm.
And if you have to use it, then you don't get the price of the insurance back, but you do get the money that you purchased on whatever event or vacation that you've planned.
So back to our day.
It was a busy day.
After we got groceries and kind of started laundry, we tackled a project we've been putting off for a while, which was organizing and cleaning up the attic.
Yes, and I made a comment, I guess, toward the end of the year last year,
Mhm.
that I wanted to spend some time reorganizing our attic, and we would do it during the winter.
Mhm.
And like you said, the weather dictates how you feel as far as whether or not you're into doing a project like
Right.
that. It just so happened that yesterday was a gorgeous day, and although I spent the majority of my time indoors, the weather made me more inclined to do that kind of work.
Yeah, because it wasn't like it was too hot or too cold. It was, I mean, it was nice. It was a little bit chilly, but just
Yeah,
enough
I
to be
mean,
comfortable working around.
yes. Now I walked outside multiple times whenever you and I were taking stuff to the back of the truck to go to the dump from the attic.
Mhm.
And yeah, to me in the shade it was a little bit chilly, but for working indoors yesterday, it was perfect.
Mhm.
So you and I spent a good bit of time and multiple trips up and down the stairs.
Yeah, I'm
Going,
feeling that today.
yes, me too. My lower back did yesterday because I did a lot of
Yeah.
things. Actually bent over yesterday cleaning.
Yeah, you cleaned the bathroom up there from top to bottom. I mean,
Yeah.
goodness gracious.
I spent hours cleaning the bathroom up there because
Yeah.
I had neglected it. Nobody has lived up there in over a year, and when they moved out, I didn't bother to clean it at the time. So
Yeah.
I just turned the water off to that room and left it. So yesterday I spent a lot of time doing that. I'm extremely satisfied with the work we did in our attic.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
got rid of a lot of stuff that
And we also were able to, I guess, during the course of the week, get our iRobot doing the things it's supposed to be doing correctly.
Yes,
So we were able to
finally.
use it around the house to vacuum the house, which was great. I know last week's episode we talked about how frustrating it was. The technology was sort of kicking our butt, but
yes, we actually
finally got it working.
Yeah, we finally figured him out. I don't know, maybe toward the later last Sunday.
Yeah.
But yes, he's finally back working like he's supposed to, and I'm extremely happy for that.
Yeah.
We threw out a lot of stuff out of the attic yesterday.
Full truckload.
Yes.
Bed full. Yes.
I mean, I don't know why. I don't know why some things I'm guilty of it, and I would like to think that I'm not the normal when it comes to keeping stuff. I have a tendency to purge very regularly stuff, but for some reason there was a couple things in that attic that I just left there.
Yeah, well, and
I mean, I guess
like
you have
put
the
up blinders of going,
right.
I'll get to it.
Or it's not bothering anything. Just
Right.
leave it there.
And that's kind of the way I felt about the attic for the last year. I mean, we've used the upstairs bedroom to hold Christmas trees and things like that, and I thought, why do I care about the attic? I'm not in the attic. I mean, we use it for nothing really, except for we do have some decorations up there.
Well, I mean, we have a little bit up there. Yeah,
but I mean, it's like it's one of those out of sight, out of mind things of going, I don't have to worry about it. It's kind of like Monica's closet on Friends.
Yeah.
It's the closet that you don't go in. You know, there's stuff in there that you need to do, but you're just like, it's over there. It's fine.
I mean, we had several things up there. We had some old shoe racks up there. Yeah. We had the lamp, what was that thing? Like a floor lamp.
They had like a base with a long pole and a thing on top with a light that flashed up to the ceiling.
The shade.
Everybody had those during the 90s.
Yes, that was popular. And
I remember I had one that bugs would fly into it because they were like, oh, look, a light. And then they would catch fire and like burn and they'd smell like burnt bug. And you're like, oh, Man, that one bit the dust. That stinks awful. Yeah.
Well, yesterday we were you actually handed me that lamp, that what was it, a
Yeah.
floor lamp
I
out of the
I took the
attic.
bulb out because I was like, let's not break the
Let's not
bulb.
break the bulb.
And
And
then the
then
glass part, it looked like
no,
it
I
had a
turned around and just shattered
it looked like the glass part was supposed to hold on, the little part on top was supposed to hold on to a little clamp thing. And I thought, well, I can't get that off. And you figured out how to get it off.
Yeah, I broke it.
Little whoopsie. And we had a little mess to clean up.
Yes. Shattered glass everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was a mess.
But
But yes, I feel very good about the fact that we purged a lot of stuff out of that attic.
I do too. And it's important to do that once in a while because I mean, let's face it, we accumulate things at times and use it and then don't. I mean, you made a comment about the fact that I've still got a sprayer in my garage I got to get rid of that has been sitting up there since we first stained the deck using it, and it hasn't been used since. It's probably no good. It needs to go in the trash.
Yeah.
I didn't take it yesterday, but as we're talking about this, I'm like, yeah, that thing probably needs to go. It's just in the garage, just in the way. I mean, it's just not like it's in the
Well, the
way, but
garage
it's
will be a project for when the weather turns nice enough that we can stay.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've been cleaning that garage nonstop.
You just got through saying that there's a sprayer out
That's
there
just a
that's been,
sprayer. Well, and there's a couple things.
there's a couple things.
There's a couple things that need to
Yes,
go.
we need to spend the day out there in the garage.
I also need weather like this on another day so that I can spread some of that dirt around that's outside. Whenever they dug up the spot for the concrete,
That's a lot of dirt.
there's a lot of dirt.
I
And
was I had no idea that it was going to be
so
that much dirt.
our neighbor, Mr. Paul, he's helped us a lot over the years, and we've helped him. I've helped him. Um, I asked him, I said, do you happen to have a wheelbarrow? He said, I sure do. He said, if you need a home for some of that dirt, I got a hole over here I need to fill in. And I was
Oh,
like,
really?
we definitely can do that. Yeah.
Oh, good.
And he bought that extra lot next to him. In the center of it, there's a low spot where I don't know, something happened and it's just gotten lower and lower as it rains. So he's like, yeah, man, if you don't mind, we could fill that hole in. I said, I don't mind a bit, buddy.
Yeah.
Do
Now
that.
when we
So,
came home from work Friday, they had actually dug the formation of where the concrete is going to be poured. Is that what you
mhm,
call it? And
foundation,
the foundation. Okay, they
put in
dug
forms.
right. They dug it out and formed it up,
Hmm.
and they wanted to do it. It actually rained Friday night, right? Friday
Rained
evening,
good Friday
and
night.
they wanted to dig this out prior to it raining so that the rain would pack it down some.
Hmm.
So yeah, I went to work Friday morning around, I don't know, I guess I left here a little after 7, did not come back until after dinner because I ran some errands and all after work. And then we went straight to dinner and came back. I was completely shocked with how big of a mound of dirt that was
Yeah.
that's out there.
He and I had texted back and forth, and the guy texted me and said, hey, if it's okay, we're going to get started tomorrow morning. And I was like, okay. And I was thinking, yeah, like most projects, it'll be like 10 or 11 o'clock before they show up. Man, at 8:30, he was like, all right, we've already started. And I was like, cool. Yay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it's nice to have a project to go underway that's going to make our lives a little bit simpler and easier in the long run. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
just never realized. I have no idea how much concrete costs or how it's even priced out.
yeah.
But of course, this is with labor and everything.
And materials, they're going to
And
have to
right.
put in some. They're using a mixture of fiberglass for most of it, which makes it pack in a little harder. So you have less of a possibility of it cracking. But they're also going to have to use a little bit of rebar towards the bottom because it's down a slope, and you don't want that to be a pressure point that breaks. So they're going to do a little bit of that as well. But yeah, I mean, we've seen what kind of work they do for our friends, and it looks great. I think this is going to look pretty good too.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully they're going to pour this week,
hopefully, yeah,
and then we're not calling for rain until
maybe the next weekend.
yeah, I think it's.
Yeah.
I just looked on the app; it doesn't even show any chance of rain until not tomorrow's Monday, right?
Mhm.
A week, the next Monday. They're not even calling for rain, so I'm hoping that we get some days with absolutely. I have no idea how long it takes for concrete to cure, sit up. I don't know. I understand what it's called.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be a period of time that you won't be able to drive on it, right?
Sure. And that's no problem.
I mean, will that be
I'll
like a
just
couple
continue to park
days?
away.
Will that be a couple of weeks?
We'll find out
Okay,
together.
I guess so.
Yeah. But sticking with the theme of the day, the weather was nice, and so we had a little visitor.
Yes, our grandson came over, the
And
youngest one.
we put together a little thing that was used by a friend of ours for her grandkids, and then let us borrow it, and we used it for Jackson. And
No, I
it's
don't
one
think
of
we've used
these.
that for Jackson. No, we used a different thing for
Did
Jackson.
we?
This is like a
That's
little,
right.
it's a little push toy where
It's a little push toy. It's sort of like shaped like a walker.
it kind of teaches them to walk, I
Teaches them how to
guess.
walk. Yeah, they lean forward on it, and as it moves, they have to move their feet to keep their balance. And Mr.
Well,
Lawson
I
got
mean,
up
he's
and
still
started
fairly young. He just turned
started
9.
walking around with it like he'd
Yeah.
been doing it for a while.
Yeah. He just
Just
turned 9 months on the 19th.
sort of surprised us with his first steps using that.
Yeah. Right now it's just gravity.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the thing's basically just pulling him.
I mean, that's all we're doing is.
But I mean, he's getting the gist of the understanding of walking.
Yep. And he did it for quite a while yesterday.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He played for quite some time.
And it was good to see him and visit and see his mama and
Yeah.
visit and that sort of stuff. And it was great.
Yes, Daddy was working, so we did get some good time with him.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I'm gonna have a little time this week with him, just me and him.
Yeah.
Not
We're gonna see how that goes.
Not that we're gonna watch Star Wars the entire time, but we could.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll
Just
be
saying.
still long enough for that.
We could watch the junior one. It's adorable. It's got bright colors and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll love it.
I'm sure he will.
And yeah. So I was able to work on a project that I've been wanting to do for a while, which was work on this. We have an awning over the back door that I sort of slapped together before a storm.
What, 2 years
Yeah,
ago?
3,
3 years
4,
ago?
something like that. We had a storm come through, and for whatever reason, the way the builders built our house, they had originally planned for a wall to be at a different spot and the fireplace to be at a different spot, and they didn't give enough clearance for the roof line to the back door. So when the rain comes really hard, it was coming around the edges of the door, and I was like, I hate the fact that water always comes in here. This is ridiculous.
Plus, it was also rotting.
Yes.
I mean, because
we had
water
we had a little wood rot that I had fixed with some Durham's wood putty and some wood filler and stuff like that, and replacement wood in there. And I wanted to protect that as much as possible and stop that water from coming in. And so I thought, what if I just built a little awning over this door to give the rain a diversion? And so before a storm was coming, I didn't have much time. I didn't have much wood at the time. I just slapped something up there and thought, that's good enough.
Was it before a hurricane?
It was before a hurricane.
Okay.
And I think I did it while the wind was coming in, and it seemed to work. And I was like, okay, cool. And I hated the look of it. I kept thinking, God, there's so much of this I could have done differently, and it just looks awful.
Well, plus you can't see it from the road. It's on the back side of our house,
Right.
and where it's located, you can't, because we live on a corner.
Yep.
But you cannot see it from the road. So
Right.
it didn't, I mean, was it an eyesore to us? Is the only people that it was an eyesore to.
Yeah. And every time I looked at it, I kept thinking, I should have done this different. I should have done that different. Why did I do that? That's so
It
stupid.
probably would have stayed just like it was if it hadn't been for the fact that, was it untreated wood that you used?
Yeah.
So the bees got in
there
it.
was a 2x4 that I cut in half, and I used it on the front and back that was with an untreated piece of wood. And for those who don't know, you got to use treated wood because otherwise insects love it. They eat it. They make their homes there. And we had some carpenter bees that had decided to make their home there.
Yes, and they were very aggressive.
They were a little aggressive about their home space, and while we kept walking in their way, and
although we weren't messing with them, we were just going in and out the back door.
Right. So I did try to spray some insect killer in there, and it killed one or two, but man, there was a bunch of them in there.
So treated wood means that it's got some kind of chemical on it, or
yes.
they soak it in it.
They soak it and they cure it in this chemical stuff. And a lot of your outdoor wood, all of your outdoor wood is going to be used like this because that way insects don't make their home there.
So that's what all of the wood on the back deck, the
yes.
deck is made out of.
Yes. And also it is an irritant to your skin. It's basically poison. So if you were to hold it,
that's lovely.
If you were to hold it next to your, on your arm for a while, your arm would get irritated because you get constant exposure to it. Which is why you put a decking cover on it, like a stain or whatever, to just protect it from your own body. But the main thing is that it makes it to where bugs don't want to eat it. And I had to get those two pieces off there, but I knew I needed to do it when it was cold. And as things happen, years passed by, and I kept looking at it going, I need to do that. And just never got it done. Weather was perfect yesterday. I was thinking, hey, this is the perfect time to do this. Why don't I go ahead and climb up here and just see what I got to do to take this apart? Because I didn't know what I needed to do. I couldn't remember how I built it. I was like, it's just got to go. It's got to go. So got up there. Luckily, I was able to pull down one of the 2x4s easily. I had just the right amount of wood from Danny that was the right height and length and whatever. And I was able to put a piece up there to secure it and then get the other piece off was a little harder because every time I touched it, I heard a whole bunch of bees inside going, and I was like, if you come out of here, I'm going to fall this ladder and really have a heart attack. Luckily, they, for the most part, stayed inside of the wood. I had one get out and try to come after me, and I ended him pretty quickly. But yeah, I got the
So
rest
what
of the
did you
wood.
do with the piece of
I had
lumber
to,
that they had built the net that they're in?
I cut him in half because it was too long to go. I wanted to put him in a trash bag and put him in the dumpster, and that's what I did. I cut them in half and put the hole ends where they were making the most noise against each other so they couldn't get out. And then I put it in a plastic trash bag and put it in the trash can.
But that's not going to stay together in a trash. So are you saying there's bees out there in
There's
our?
bees in our trash.
Okay, yeah. Well, I don't take the trash
You're
out
not taking the
anyway.
trash out. What are you worried about?
Well, I mean, what about the poor guy that's got to come dump the trash in the morning?
It's in a trash bag. I closed it up really tight.
Okay.
So they're probably going to suffocate. They'll be
Yeah,
like,
I guess so. That's true. That's true. I hadn't thought about that.
yeah. But yeah. So I threw in stuff on top of it too, and it's fine. It'll be fine. But anyway, I was able to fix that.
Famous last words.
It'll be fine. Trust me.
Oh gosh.
Trust me.
There's
I'm
just
an
some things I
expert.
don't need to know.
Right. Mental note.
Yes.
I had this discussion with Greg this past week. We were talking about the fact that my 500th episode is coming up. This is 497. So I told him, I said, my 500th episode is coming up. I said, I don't know what I want to do. I want to do something different. And he was like, how about another 7 hour podcast? I was like, I don't think I have 7 hours in me.
You want to do something different?
Something different for the 500.
What do you mean by
Something special, something 500th.
you could actually record on your standing on your head?
I can't talk very long like that. I'll pass out.
I mean,
But
I don't really get do something different.
something special. Just do something.
You mean actually have something that you want to talk about? Have a plan?
Well,
That'd be great.
we were talking about how a lot of our having a platform like this, there is a fantasy of being able to talk about whatever you want to talk about. Because I hear this from people all the time. They're like, "Hey, I want to be on the podcast. I want to talk about blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Yes, but your job is this, and you can't do that because this is a public forum, and you'll get in trouble with your job." And they go, "Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, our whole two listeners not report them.
well, what could we talk about?" And I'm like, "You got to come up with that. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of the thing, you know." And I told Greg, I said, one of the common things that I hear people talk about is how they want to be like Joe Rogan and they want to talk about all the things that they have conspiracy theories about and their hopes and dreams and fears. And that guy's a jerk off and blah, blah, blah. And they have all this stuff they want to say. And then I go, yes, but people listen. And they go, that's the idea. And I go, think about it. People listen, which means your job listens, your mom listens, your wife listens, and they go, oh yeah. So you've told me before, not everybody needs to know what's in your head, right?
True.
Okay.
True. Very true.
That sort of handcuffs the idea that we could talk about anything.
Yeah, well,
I mean, like, for instance, I don't like talking about politics because a lot of people misconstrue politics and they have a version of politics that they think is their reality. And in reality, none of us really know what's going on. We have an idea, but none of us really know.
well, I think that the average person, and don't get me wrong, it's not like we've got hundreds of listeners, but I think the average person automatically, I don't know, social media. I don't know where I was going with that. I do know where I was going with that, but like TikTok, for instance, I have gotten more into reading some of the comments now than actually watching TikToks.
Okay.
And people are just absolutely horrible. I
Yes.
mean, there's not, and is it because you are sitting behind a screen name
Yes.
that you can just be so belligerent
Yes.
that just because you don't agree with someone's thoughts or
or their point
beliefs
of view.
or their point of view on something that
Hmm.
you automatically want to tear them down.
Yes, it's the internet trolls.
Well, I wouldn't say just internet trolls. I mean, the people that we know. I
Yes,
mean, people are so inclined nowadays that if
to
they
just be
don't,
hateful.
well, no, that if, yeah, that they don't believe what you believe, then they are automatically very defensive and rude about it.
Yes,
I mean, so that's one of the reasons why I have always tried hard to stay away from politics in just in general, even at work.
right.
I mean, because I have to work with these people. I don't want, I mean, I could care less if they know what my beliefs are or aren't, because they're going to judge me based on them.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know. It's just really terrible that things have changed so much.
Well, and it's kind of like the idea of, Elon Musk talking about free speech. He said speech should be free and we should regulate each other. Yes, but also it kind of gives you an insight as to who's crazy and who
Well,
isn't,
I mean,
who has a level head and who doesn't.
people, workplaces actually monitor that kind of stuff
Yep.
nowadays, and you can lose your job over it.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Like the person at the football game that was rude to that lady, and then they ended up firing him for being so mean to her.
right.
Yeah, I mean, your actions speak volumes. I mean, I was raised with the idea that, whatever you do and no one's looking, that's what you're truly judged by. And as a kid, I thought, well, why does that make any sense? But as you get older, you realize, oh yeah, it is basically your character. Your character is who you are when no one's paying attention. Do you help people or do you hurt people? Do you do simple things like returning your cart to the cart return area? Do you say thank you to the person who holds the door for you? Do you hold the door for people? Do you do all of the little things that sort of make society a better as a whole just by being nice to one another? Or are you the kind of person who just leaves your cart in the middle of the parking lot or throws your trash on the ground? Are you a trash human? That's basically the difference to me. Um, and sometimes people's comments sort of lead you to believe that they have no idea or any repercussions in their own life because maybe everybody around them is an echo chamber for the things they think about. So they can say outlandish things, and all their friends are like, yeah, yeah, get them. And meanwhile, they could be completely wrong. But we have an open door to see that. And it's a little shocking sometimes, especially with some of my friends.
Well, I mean, I don't comment on any, I do not comment on TikTok. I don't.
I've gotten to where I don't even want to do it on Facebook.
I don't on Facebook either. I mean, I comment just in general stuff. I do not comment on political stuff.
Yeah.
I do not post. I post so very little on my Facebook anymore. I mean, I probably last year posted maybe twice, maybe possibly three times. It's just something that I got away from because people, I don't know, and it's not necessarily because of the things that I was posting that people were commenting on. It's just the whole thing has of reading horrible comments has changed my whole outlook on even wanting to post anything myself.
Right.
Does that make sense? I mean, like I say, I just have gotten so far away from that. I used to be and I'm not going to say I don't go to Facebook at least once a day and scroll through just in general. I mean, just I don't know why. I guess habit.
It's habit.
It's habit.
Yep.
So, but I don't. I don't comment anymore. I just don't. I don't post. I post very, very little. I may post Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
But that's about it. I just don't do it anymore because I have gotten so, I don't know what the word is, just so shocked and so scared to say anything because people just rip you apart.
Yeah. Well, I gave blood this past week and I thought, no one cares. But also, there's so much on here about, I don't know, it's a selfish attitude and a selfish stance on things. And everybody's just posting a lot of things where there has to be political or
I don't
it's
know.
full
Where
of
were you going with the
ads.
blood? Were you going to post that you
I
had
did
given blood?
I did
Or
post that I
okay.
gave blood. I said something like giving blood because my mom was a nurse and always taught me that that's important, that if you were capable of giving, that it could save someone's life. And in this world, I think it's better to give than to take. And I've got a bunch of like thumbs up and heart emoji things, but no one really commented. But I was like, promote the positive. It's the thing I've been talking about all along. Is I could get on here and talk about what I see is going on of my version and this and that, but no one cares. And do I want to start a fight with people? No, not really. I don't care. I mean, I guess there is a point in your life where you're like, not my barrel, not my monkeys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if is that what our country is that the stance that everybody's taken? Is that why we're so in the in the toilet? I mean,
But are
it's
we?
well, I mean, I don't know. It's
I mean, our life's pretty great.
I actually came across a TikTok last night where someone said he was from a different country. I don't remember right off the top of my head what country it was. And he said, if you come into our country, my country where I live, illegally, you will be deported. Plain and simple. It's just that's the way it is.
Mhm.
And he said, and now, I mean, illegally. The word that's the one key word is
Right.
illegally.
Which means you
Does
could do it the correct way.
right.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no problem at all with the correct way.
Right.
This nation was founded on doing it the
Which
correct way,
it
right?
appears that our current administration is going to make people do it the correct way
So I don't
for a
know.
change.
Like I say, I'm not worried that we're going to lose viewers because I say,
Oh no, I'm never worried about losing viewers. I'm losing viewers by just being me. So, yeah,
I don't know.
this is the
It's
first day I've turned on my. I glance at the analytics once in a while. This is the first day I turned on YouTube, and it said I had 4 less listeners now
oh wow,
in the last 28 days. It's been saying for a long time. You have 17 new viewers. I'm like, really? Or 17 new subscribers. I'm like, okay. And it almost every time I've turned it on, it's been between 17 and 30 new subscribers, on and on and on. Every time I look, I'm just curious once in a while and I'll glance.
is that because we're boring, or is
Yes.
that because
We're not we're not the flashy cool
well,
people.
no, not at all.
We're not talking about flashy cool stuff.
What, we're not talking about controversial stuff?
Right. Yeah, we could be talking about aliens or
So you think you're going to get more listeners if you talk about aliens?
apparently, because that's my highest rated podcast. Jeez, I talked about Bob Lazar one time and it blew up to 40,000 views. I was like, what? Yeah. I mean, whatever. I mean, we could talk about politics, but then you get into this whole realm of politics. And I'll be honest, there's a lot of people's content that I watch is better than ours.
Oh, you think?
A lot. Their production value is high. Their everything is great.
Yeah.
But I thought, what can I do in my little small podcast here in Florence, South Carolina, other than what I've been doing, which is promote the positive and allow an open space for people to talk. I mean, one of the biggest things I've thought about is the fact that, if nothing else, I'm hoping that mental health has come across as a topic that we talk about on a regular basis. Finding self improvement is another one. But supporting one another, just through simple things, just like a shout out once in a while. Or I wanted to do a little thing about Groucho's. I mean, Groucho's is kind of a cool place to eat here in Florence, South Carolina. It's not the only one. There's several in the state. We had dinner there Friday night. It was wonderful.
Yes,
It's
it was.
always wonderful. Their food is great. If you have a Groucho's around you, go check them out. It's really fantastic. But yeah, why not again keep doing those types of things? Let's just say that our fishbowl caps out at, I don't know, 100 listeners. Okay, well maybe it makes it better for 100 people. If that's what I'm supposed to do, then that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we all need something in life, right? You need something to motivate you. You need something to challenge you. You need something to make you feel like, oh, somebody is actually paying attention and gives a crap, right? Everyone wants to be seen and heard. Everyone.
Yes.
And why not just keep doing that? Even if it's on a small scale, to me, it's making the world better a little at a time.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't think that we'll ever be a big fish in this pond.
No.
We're in a spare bedroom, for crying out loud,
I know. Isn't it great?
with furniture that was
You get
built
to wear
in
your
the garage.
pajamas.
with furniture that was built in the garage.
Yeah.
And I mean,
She's off camera in her pajamas. You guys
so
can't
yeah,
even see it.
that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It's a podcast.
Right.
It's not a YouTube.
It's just well, it is on YouTube, but
Yeah,
it's
but that's because you choose to put it there.
well, it's the only thing paying the bills around here. So
What, YouTube?
out of all the things that the podcast goes on, the YouTube is what's paying money.
Um,
Yeah.
Us getting up and going to work every day.
No. I'm saying as far as the podcast goes, putting it on YouTube is what's actually paying for.
Oh, okay.
the
I got you.
podcast.
Yes, you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Because viewership, because
Yes.
Google, because for whatever reason, I guess all the YouTube videos and the fact that I'm Richard Peake's son has got a
Well,
lot of
I mean,
views.
you used to do more filming of things and putting them on YouTube.
Well, like,
And at one time, there was time whenever you were bringing in, I mean, and don't get me wrong, it was not a tremendous amount of money, but it was a couple of $100 a month.
Yeah.
Just in posting YouTube videos.
well, it was also during the Bob Lazar alien thing, so that was a huge bump.
No, you had
It
months
was.
where you used to bring
It
home.
was.
We used to bring in, like I say, it was
It's
definitely
also
more.
the time, like
Well, I mean, they've also refigured their algorithms, which changed
And-
people's pay.
and I'm older, so the content isn't as vibrant as it was when I was young. I know part of it was like older ladies watching me going, yeah,
Oh, God.
there he is. There he is. He's fixing something. Ooh, yeah, fix
No,
that thing.
I don't think
You
it
don't
was
think so?
that at all.
Oh, maybe
No.
maybe it's old man going, yeah, there he is. He's fixing something. Yeah, go ahead, grab that wrench. Yeah,
No,
no, probably not.
I don't know. I think it's just it was a phase.
That's kind of it, though, right? Everything in life is sort of a phase, right? There's a phase where you had bangs. There's a phase when you had curly hair. There's a phase when you didn't have glasses. There's a phase when you ran. There's a phase for all kinds of things. I mean, I've talked to the kids before, and they were like, "How did you get into doing blah blah blah?" And I was like, "If you remember when we got together, I didn't do any of that stuff. Like it was just a learning process. You just learn, and you have to learn."
Well, I mean, you started with YouTube or posting videos because your dad kind of got you into that. I mean,
For
he
us,
was
it was sort of a way to communicate with each other about
Right.
what was going on in our lives because we weren't near each other. And so, for him, it was, hey, or I told him, I said, you know how to do a lot of things, and I have boys, and I don't know how to do anything. And he's like, I'm gonna start making these videos on this thing called YouTube. And I was like, what? I had heard the word YouTube before, but then it was him making videos of fixing things. And before I knew it, I started watching a lot, and I thought, oh, this could be something. And then I started. And now
well, I mean, it was definitely a way for you to see your dad
Yeah.
on a regular basis, see him on a regular basis.
It was sort of a relationship in a way.
Yeah, I mean, that was
where
way
we didn't
before
really have a
that was
relationship
way
before
before
that.
FaceTime even started
Yeah.
on phones, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it definitely, I know that the first time you started filming that, well, I want to say maybe when you brought the Rambler back from Maine,
Mhm.
that's when you actually filmed videos. And is that when you created the YouTube account and started posting?
Yep. My first iPhone, the iPhone 4, I think it was at the time. On the plane trip up there, I thought, what if I record this? Hey, I'm going to visit my dad for a special thing. He's going to gift me a 64 AMC Rambler, and I'm going to drive it from Maine to South Carolina, and let's just see what happens. And I thought, why not catalog it? Why not record it? And along the way, I would post it while I was driving, and it was simple back then. The algorithm was easy to upload, and the whole process was easier. And I just uploaded and uploaded and uploaded, and then people were commenting, and Dad made a video, and he was like, "Oh, well, he's here, and he's getting in the
Yeah.
car, and here he goes." And I just got off the phone with him, and it was neat. It was like sort of like we were both cataloging the event in a way, and then just took off from there. I mean, I got it home, and I think you looked at me and were like, "All right, now what?" And I thought, "Oh shit, now what?"
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just a phase. It was, I mean, because we took a trip in December, and you and I both recorded some.
Yeah.
But you did not post the first video to YouTube.
I didn't get any video from you.
You didn't ask for any.
Hey, listen. If you wanted me to make a video,
But I will say that
you-
it was our first time that we went somewhere on a trip that we didn't post any video at all.
Yeah. But also, I just wanted to enjoy our time. I don't know if
We still recorded though. That's just it.
yeah,
I mean, like I say, I just think that it's something
kind
that
of.
has kind of it has changed.
You're better at videoing things than I am.
I hold the camera way
Well,
more.
also my interest is, I over the years of recording things, like a phase, I think to myself, why don't I just enjoy this? Like put the camera down, put the phone down. Because I find myself looking for the shot and not enjoying the experience.
Um,
So
yeah, I guess I don't.
I made a conscious decision of, okay, here comes the fireworks. Let's just look at it. And I've noticed that in people's lives, like with their kids sometimes. Their kids will do something and they record it on their phone and they're not present for it. And then as soon as the kid is slightly done with it, all they're doing is looking at their phone because they're
Now,
posting
see,
it
I'm just the opposite
and
when
they're
it
not
comes to
looking
that.
at what the kid's doing. They're not participating in the kid's life. And I've seen that with people, and it's like it's a little disturbing because you take a step and you look around and you're like, okay, there's five people in the room and everyone's looking at their phone. And meanwhile, the kid is still like looking around going, did anybody see that? I just did the thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about the fact that we're all face down in the phone.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is, our culture is driving us even more to
Mm-hmm.
that
Yep.
because we rely on the phone for so much more now.
Well, you just said it. We rely on the phone for so much more. The biggest thing that we rely on it for that we don't talk about is validation. We want to share these experiences and we want to show what's going on so that someone out there can go, oh, wow, that's so cool. You did a great job. TikTok is a good example. Okay. TikTok is what, 15 seconds a lot of times,
Well, it
10
depends.
seconds,
I don't know.
a lot
Some
of
of it,
short videos. But that's basically how it started.
that's how it
Short
started.
videos.
It's not that way now. Now more videos are longer.
Yeah. They've allowed for longer thing. Anyway, the idea is we have a short attention span because we're moving on. And people are like, oh, I got all these likes. Yeah, but also if you watch people do it, it's double tap, flip, double tap, flip, double tap, flip, double tap, flip. They're spending less time. They're not watching the whole video a lot of times as much as they are just going, yeah, okay, that's good. And then giving it a like and throwing it on. Meanwhile, people out there get the validation of going, oh, look, I got 37,000 likes for this thing. Did they pay attention to all of it? Or do they care? Or did they just do that and move on? Because that's kind of what we're all doing, whether we talk about it or not. We're sort of like, oh, that's cool. And what else is there?
Yeah, very true.
I mean, you know, this podcast in a lot of ways is a lot like other podcasts in the fact that in the long run, I don't think anybody's going to care because no one's going to have that much attention span. It's great for sound bites. Like if you had somebody break down some of these for sound bites and just make little 10-second videos of this and that of the podcast, it'd probably be tremendously profitable. I don't have the patience for that.
Maybe podcasts are going
To me, this is
not going away, but maybe they're changing because of the way that things like TikTok has changed our lives.
yes,
And you just move on.
yes. Well, and everyone knows that.
I mean, because don't get me
Everyone
wrong,
knows there's one Rogan,
right?
right?
I mean,
People
and
have tried to emulate it, and they all know
but if
there's
you
one Joe Rogan,
right, there's one Joe Rogan, and he is by far
and
the
holy
best,
crap, that's
obviously,
awesome.
because he has more
Yep,
views and more follows or whatever it is
and most news sources all combined.
right. Okay, but whenever you ask somebody or you hear somebody talk about listening to a Joe Rogan podcast,
Mhm.
what is the one thing that they say other than the language? Let's just move past the language thing because a lot of people's going to say, "Well, I don't listen to
Oh,
it
that's
because
my
of the
mom's
language."
biggest hang up.
No, I mean that
She
it's
won't
not.
listen to the content because she's so distracted with the language.
Well, there's a lot of people like that, but
Sure.
what is the very next thing they say if they don't say the language thing? It's the length. It
Yeah.
is the fact that the
3 hours.
podcast is so the podcasts are so long.
There's 3 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not going to say that I have even his podcast that I've listened to recently. And I can honestly say the only two ones that I've even checked out in the last year has been his one when he interviewed Trump and his one when he interviewed
JD Vance.
JD Vance.
Mhm.
I listened to more of the JD Vance one because I personally found it more interesting, but I did not listen to all of either one of those podcasts because they were so lengthy and I don't have that kind of time. And I never usually listen to a podcast from finish to end unless it's a very short one. I listen to them whenever
Beginning
I'm
to end. You just have to
beginning.
finish the end.
I'm sorry, beginning to end, unless it's a very short one. I listen to podcasts. I guess everybody has their own.
Yeah.
I listen to mine in the mornings when I'm getting dressed and when I'm in the bathroom by myself. And I also listen to mine on rides to and from work because I have like a 15, 20 minute, ride to work every morning
And see, I've not listened to podcasts in quite a while
because you're not in a
because
truck
my
anymore.
my commute is so short,
Right.
and I'm not isolated in a vehicle. If I'm on a long trip and I get bored, I'll go, I need something to listen to. My go-to right now is if I'm on a long trip is Time Suck.
Right.
I like Dan Cummins. I think he's funny, but he talks about some crazy stuff that you're like, "Ooh, this is horrifying," but he finds a way to make it funny, even while he's reading you this historical bad stuff that this person did. A lot of true crime stuff and
And
a
see,
lot
I
of
have
who
more,
done
I
it
probably
stuff.
have more podcasts that I listen to per week than you do
Yeah, absolutely.
because I have three that I listen to every single week.
Well,
And I listen to this one. I do listen to this one.
that's because you're a producer.
I'm not a producer. I just listen to it to see how,
You are a producer.
making sure I don't sound
Give you a producer credit,
completely
talent, and producer.
like
I
a
should be paying
goofball,
you.
like a goofball. That's the only reason I'm
Those are the
listening to
ones.
it.
The ones where we get goofy and lose our minds is the ones that people are like, "That's a really good one."
I tell you, there's been a couple times that I've listened to yours whenever you would because I don't watch what you watch on TV.
Hmm.
And there'd be times I'd be driving down the road and I'd be like, just spit it out, Josh, say it and move on.
Yeah. Well,
I'm definitely talking to the radio.
that's also because my notes have changed. Like my notebook now looks like one word things, whereas it used to be just a mountain of information per page of notes that I would take. I got a book over here that's just full of notes that I mean, I would make notes, I would miss things, I would scan over
Well, you would
things.
make notes of all the different shows that you had
But it
watched
was
in the
hard
week and you
to
wanted to talk about.
it like, yeah, because I thought maybe somebody else out there would like to talk about this stuff, and if I had that in common with them, we could talk about it together. What I found is nobody wants to do that. They're all on a page. They're all on a Facebook page, a group page, whatever, and they talk about it there. So like Facebook's got different fan group pages that people talk about their favorite whatever. That's the pages that I talk to people about that kind of stuff now because it's like nobody cares what I think about this stuff on a podcast. Um, Instagram's got a few fan pages that I enjoy because it is an interesting back and forth. And I thought, okay, well that's the niche for that, not me. I mean, I know this is stuff I heard, and I talk about stuff I heard. I mean, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not for this.
Well, it's just like anything else. It evolves, it changes.
Right. There's a season. To everything turn, turn. Is that the song?
I don't know. I mean, we change
Yes.
as we grow older. Everything about us changes.
Yeah.
So it's only natural
Some of
that
it's good. Some of it ain't so great. Some of it we have no control of. Um, you know, it just happens.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say that. I mean, getting older with your
Your
physical
body.
body,
Yeah.
that is definitely
Out of your control a lot of times. Some of it you can, but some of it you just can't. Some of it's just nature going, and you're done with that.
yes, most definitely. Things change.
Yeah.
But as far as your, I don't know, your thoughts and your likes and dislikes, that changes too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
about ready to wrap this one up?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that we're gonna make some miraculous podcast that's gonna change the world. I don't have.
No.
I never came into this with that thought. Not at all.
No. My first thought was if it helps one person seek out mental health and some counseling, great.
Yeah, I mean,
Most people I've talked to a lot of people on a truck, being a trainer, riding with people, having long conversations about their life. And the thing I kept hearing about is no one understands. No one understands what I'm going through. No one understands the hurdles I have. No one understands what I've been through. And the more you talk to people, the more they go, oh, we actually have more in common than I thought. And I thought, well, yeah, that's kind of the truth with most people. And all it takes sometimes is just conversation. You do find common ground with people the more you talk to them, whether it's being through a marriage, a divorce, having a child, losing a child, having a parent, losing a parent, joining the military, being a farmer, being broke. Um, all the highs and lows in your life, there's some commonality that you're going to find somewhere along the way. And you're going to find how you're relatable with other people. And along with that, sometimes it's just nice to know that you're not by yourself. Because that's when people turn to suicide, is when they feel like no one understands. And I thought, well, okay, let's talk about it. Let's open conversation. Let's make it comfortable for people to talk about whatever. And there's some conversations I've had where I thought, I don't know if I'm equipped to have this conversation. We should really talk to someone else. I should get you in touch with a professional. But there's some conversations where I go, do I want to have this conversation with this person? Oh my goodness. I said the words, I opened the door, and the next thing I know, I'm going, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't know if I want to open that door. I mean, I don't know. We're all doing our part. So hopefully this will get through to somebody to seek help if they need to. Yeah, that's it.
I think we do it more for our own mental health than we do. I mean,
Yes.
yeah, is
Yes.
some of it.
Part of that is that. Part of that is if I talk about this and talk about this and talk about this, maybe it helps me.
Yeah.
Because then I'm not keeping it all bottled up inside of here's all the crazy thoughts I've had this past week. Enjoy.
Yeah, most definitely.
If it's outside of me, it's not in me. And it gets to be shared with the universe. Ta-da. So I'm gonna end this.
Okay.
You good?
I'm great.
You got anything to promote besides Groucho's?
Besides Groucho's?
Groucho's
No?
is great. All right. So anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for being a part of this. If you want to be part of the podcast, let me know. If you have something you want to talk about, let me know. And remember to tip your bartender, tip your waitress.
Where did that come
promote
from?
promote the positive. Give blood. It might save somebody's life. And as always, cue the cow.
Cue the cow. Moo, baby.